Over the last couple of weeks, a lot has changed within the aviation industry, as the spread of COVID-19 spreads across borders, only for changes to be multiplied in the last 2 weeks. As China and other Asian countries managed to finally contain the fast-spreading virus and turn around the contagious curve, Europe and America has forced a number of measures in the last week. For the first time, the world seems to be immobile. Now we're seeing borders across the world being temporarily shut, flights being suspended, airlines axing the vast majority of their global capacity, and corporations halting travel throughout every corner of the world. We're also witnessing the US banning passengers from Europe, the Shenzhen area suspending internal flights and closing its borders to non-EU nationals for 30 days, and South American countries closing their borders also. In such unprecedented times, it's the first time we're seeing airlines across the globe taking drastic measures to cope with a world that cannot fly. United Airlines is cutting 60% in capacity until further notice, and Delta Airlines by 70%. Over in Europe, British Airways is cutting it by 80% until at least May, along with Lufthansa and Air France by 90%. But perhaps the most surprising is Ryanair. The largest Boeing 737-800 operator in the world will temporarily axe their vast majority of its flights, only maintaining a small number of flights between the UK and Ireland. Now, Boeing has already announced plans to suspend the 737 MAX production in late 2019, but the aircraft manufacturer is now halting all aircraft production at their main facilities. This is being done in the light of state of emergency in Washington state, and the company's continuous assessment of the accelerating spread of COVID-19. Boeing will be reducing their production activity and will suspend all operations for at least 14 days. During this time, the company will conduct the deep cleaning activities at their facilities and also establish a rigorous criteria for returning to work. As Boeing describes it, this is being done to ensure the well-being of Boeing employees, their families, and also the local community. While the manufacturer is obviously in a terrible financial situation at this point and is even looking for government aid, Boeing suspending production doesn't seem to be because of lack of demands for planes, but rather because of several Boeing employees have contracted COVID-19 and one has also unfortunately died. As the world's largest multinationals begin banning all non-essential travel and face-to-face meetings from early as February and replacing online communication, this could well be something that is here to stay. This certainly does not replace the need for human interactions, but it might help reduce the need for day trips to other cities or reduce the frequency of business commutes. The period that we're currently in right now could unveil potential for business to be dealt with virtually. This becomes especially prominent as companies will be under enormous pressure to manage down costs as the global economy is hit by the consequences of people's immobility. While I don't want to get speculative on the changes that this social isolation will bring to travel, it is likely it will change some things while reflecting on some others on how the world works even today. On one hand, it proves that the scale of globalization and connectivity makes pretty much everything have global repercussions. On the other hand, it shows that we can't live without one another and that we can interact and express solidarity despite not being physically in the same place. Now, this doesn't mean that we won't need flying. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Think about your desire to resume travel, discover new destinations, or engage in other new projects that capture opportunities in other geographical locations. It's hardly impossible to imagine a world without the urge for geographical displacement for more reasons that we can possibly imagine. Sooner than later, the magic of flight will be there for us to chase dreams. We just might, to an extent, change the frequency in which we displace. Let's hope the industry once again shines for its capacity for recovery, and sooner than later airports are filled up, planes are taken off and landing, and those who make magic of flights back doing what they love. There's no doubt about it that the next few months will be tough, especially as the economic shocks will for the first time impact the vast majority of the world's economies at the same time, but it certainly won't last forever.